And welcome to the program in the audience. And our guest for this segment, and it looks like we're going to have to do it without graphics, I'm sorry to say, but our guest is Essau Pwelle. And he's a co-founder. He's from the country of Tanzania.
That's right.
And he is also the co-founder of an organization called the African Orphans Fund. And his handle, as it were, is an African banjoist.
That's right.
He's going to fill us in a good deal from the country, perspectives from the country of Africa, as well as the unique perspective on the banjo as an instrument that, as I understand, was invented and developed and has a great tradition in the country of Tanzania.
That's right.
And your family has been tuned into that for many generations, and we're going to be talking about that, and he's going to play for us. And welcome, Essau, very, very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Harold Chana, and it's my pleasure to be here with you, and I'll be happy to share most of my life being from Tanzania, which is in East Africa, as well as the African continent in general, history, geography, as well as the people.
Very good. Maybe you could share born and raised, where you were born and raised, and that sort of thing, your own bio in a sense.
Thank you very much for that question. I was born in a very small village, less than 100 people. It's called Yenzebwe village, which means Smiling Rock. I'm from very moderate, I won't say poor family, but very rich in heart. They are substantial farmers. I am the firstborn, as you may ask.
You're the elder, huh?
Yeah, I'm the oldest. We are 9 of us, 3 brothers and 6 sisters. Our parents really worked hard as substantial farmers.
You mean subsistence farmers? You're growing your own food?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I see.
And not for money, and nothing we were able to make out of what we're growing and what they do even today. Make less than $150 a year to raise 9 children in their own land, and we have about
$150 a year to raise 9 children. That's a challenge.
That's a big challenge.
A big challenge.
It is a big challenge. In fact, probably most questions people ask me, if I came from that background, how did I came up to United States? How I became
Okay, we'll get to that's your unique biography, but and it's also they have ethnic divisions or they have tribal divisions and so forth. Do you have an ethnic identity within the Tanzania state or a group that you belong to, and is it important to you in terms of your identity and so forth?
Very important. And
you Maasai?
No, in fact, I'm not a Maasai. And
you're not a Maasai. Okay, maybe you can make the distinction for us. We're ignorant, unfortunately.
Well, it's very, thank you for bringing up that question. Most people, they get confused. And one time someone asked me who is the president of Africa, which was, I just smiled and I was like,
54 countries,
But,
and there's divisions within those countries as there is here.
It's more than 8,000 different dialects of African continent in general, 8,000 different dialects of languages.
How many language groups are there? Do you happen to know? Maybe you don't.
It's 2,000 to 3,000.
Wow. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. There was a big distinction. There was a great division of language among the Amerindian peoples too.
That's very true.
It bespeaks long geographical isolation that those kind of divisions develop, but in terms of the history of linguistics. Anyway, your identity is Tanzanian, or do you feel, or do your people and the people you associate with, do they feel Tanzanian, or do they have tribal identities that are more important, and how does that all work out?
This is very, in fact, Tanzanians are very proud to be Tanzanians.
Okay, good. Yeah.
But the only sometimes you will find out when they travel or go out overseas, they cannot really become very identical easily because of their features and so on, very similar to many Africans or East Africans. But if you found a Tanzanian who really understands the pride of his own country, they will be happy to talk and share importance of our own land and country, the society. As you asked the question about the Maasai, the tribe between Maasai and where my identity is, I'm from Wandali tribe.
Wandali, okay.
Yeah, Wandali tribe, which is part of the Bantu ethnic group.
Okay.
Which consists about 68% of the African continent.
Really?
It's Bantu ethnic group.
Okay, okay.
And the rest, northern part Africa, where we are more in the Arabic Cruciates, Nilotic people. The Maasai, who are Nilotic people, we call them pastoralists because they raise cow and so on. Those are the tribes that we have in Tanzania. We have some other indigenous, like Maasai, Pasay tribes also in Tanzania. We have Mangati, we have Hazabi, which are Bushmen people. We have Barabakes, also are Bushmen people. Those are somehow you can find them in the northern part of Tanzania, in areas of Ngorongoro, Serengeti, between Arusha, Lake Manyara, and so on.
I think where you are rooted is where the scientific understanding of where our species began is very near where you hail from. That in fact we all hail from there. We all ought to get our identity by your tribal identification, perhaps.
Thank you for making so
200,000 years ago, Homo
right.
sapien appeared right around where you're coming from.
That's right. That's Olduvai Gorge, yes.
Yeah, Olduvai. That's going Australopithecine and everything,
that's
back
right.
before humanity.
That's right.
Homo sapien appeared about 200,000 years, the science seems to tell us, and we're all African.
That's right.
That's a good point to keep in mind.
The first mankind of the most forerunner upstanding started up to lift themselves. That's from on the Olduvai Gorge in Ngorongoro Crater, which is the 8th wonder of the world.
Yes.
As in terms of the UNESCO credited, now we have just credited Serengeti to be a 7th wonder of the world.
Yeah.
So when I just try to share about differences, ethnicity, linger in Tanzania, and also for part of our borders, countries we border like Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, and
over
Burundi.
in the east,
on the East Africa. Swahili became
Swahili's lingua franca, like that?
Swahili became the one of the language that Tanzania we picked up to be a national language. Now it's becoming really an African language to.
Even over in the West?
That's right, They are now leaders.
Trading? Or?
Trading, yes.
Yeah, right, okay.
Yeah. Because of early 12th and 13th centuries, between 12th and 13th century, the migration of Africa went from the West to the East. Yeah. And then went back from the East to the West when slavery started. So if you want to identify the people of the West Africa, most of the ethnicity, they are Bantu origin from the center of Congo and so on. They lived in the center of Congo, Congo Brazzaville, and some of them traveled in the south and to the west as well. So as that said, that's how the banjo now come up in between of being the African identity, the African origin, versus what the book says mostly documents that the banjo came from West Africa.
The banjo, you're talking.
That's what,
Yeah, you talk, okay. Yeah. They say it comes from West Africa, but indeed you're trying to tell me it came from Tanzania.
It in fact, came from Africa. It's an African instrument. You cannot.
But Tanzania?
Tanzania is one of the
one of the places where it came from.
Exactly, because I'm a 4th generation banjo player.
Yeah.
I just find out.
And maker, you make them also.
Make them,
okay, we're going to get to that. Don't believe me, we're going to get to that.
Yeah. So as I said, so my tribe is very proud. We are a very proud tribe, small tribe, very small tribe. It's one of the 130 dialects of Tanzania.
It would be very interesting to you get up in Bosnia and they had a country Yugoslavia.
That's
or
right.
like in Europe, I mean the states of Africa were largely carved up Treaty of Berlin or something, by the European powers. I mean, they just put arbitrary lines on the ground by the European colonialists and set up these countries. But the reality of the people is very much more variegated.
That's very true. And especially like we had even a problem of accessing our own water, like River Nile, that British Sea own it. And to get that water, we have to get some kind of documentation, permission to use it or
pay some of that $155 a year you have in order to get water for the kiddies? We could go into history is a nightmare of exploitation by the powerful against the weak.
It's so ridiculous if someone tells you that. I was just thinking
this morning, in fact, you know Maggie. It was Maggie who introduced my friend Maggie and everything, introduced, and I was talking to her today. We were just thinking off the top of our heads. And do you know it's true that in terms of the evolution of organic process on this planet, that 99.9% of all the species that have ever existed have gone extinct?
It is, I believe, and it's true.
You know what what does that mean? I mean, like, for instance, we're all of one humanity. We're all one thing. We all are African. We all come out of Africa. 10,000 generations we've been before when our species evolved. But before that, say 4 or 7 million years ago, the hominoid line, of which we're all a part,
that's right,
in a special way, was contained in what was called Australopithecine.
Australopithecine,
and that was a far different kind of creature than Homo sapien. Then there was the movement to Homo habilis.
Habilis. In fact, that's one of the most identical in Ngorongoro, Olduvai Gorge.
Is that Lucy also?
Lucy, exactly. That's right. Lucy.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if she was Australopithecine or not, or if it was Homo habilis.
Homo habilis.
Yeah, and anyway, so there was that, and then from that there came Homo sapiens.
The Homo sapiens. Yeah.
I wonder if we think of that in a way, if there's going to be a period when they're going to... Now, there is no more Australopithecine. They went extinct.
Yeah, exactly. They went extinct, yes.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, is there going to be a period when we're going to transcend our role or our time in evolution, and that there will be the emergence of a new species transcendent to Homo sapiens?
Well,
you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do understand, but this is now... I'm not a very good scientific.
No, it just occurred to me on the bus coming over today, brother. So I thought I'd bring it up. You know, we've been getting
very good. Yeah,
I was thinking, what could we call it? We call it Homo. I was thinking we could call it Homo scarciacidus. No, scarcity. Because we're getting to a point where we got weapons that can destroy the species. That extension of consciousness is unique to us.
That's right. Yeah.
And we also have a unique capability of providing for everybody with good design and technology. As you understand, you've done a lot of thinking. Yeah. And so we may be able to be transcending the ironclad laws of scarcity that have applied throughout 200,000. There was never enough. So for one to gain, nobody else had to lose. We may be coming to a transition. So we would be Homo scarcity, Homo abundance. So that there would be, do you understand that division?
Yeah,
maybe one that's facing us now and could be realized either way in terms of the decisions we're going to make within the political everyday context. Yeah. What do you think? Are we at a time of qualitative transformation?
I think that's transformation. I won't be clearly to understand.
You're not clear on that? I wanted a clear answer, brother. I don't want anything.
But I just want to say.
I'm just joking.
No, I understand your joke. It's my understanding. It has a limitation of really where we came from, and on where we're going. That answer, as we do in Africa, we live by day. We don't live by tomorrow.
Okay.
And that's one thing.
You live in the moment? Is that fair to
exactly.
Say? Is it fair to say? Like
very fair to say, exactly. We live in the moment. We don't know about tomorrow. Because tomorrow is the day which it's longer than you think. You can't predict. You cannot. And planning, that's even includes the planning. People, we don't think about what we'll eat tomorrow.
Okay.
We think about what we are going to eat.
Well, there's a lot of the wisdom schools, a lot of the Vedic things say, be here now.
Yeah.
Don't be talking about the future. There's nothing you can do about the past.
Exactly.
And be in the moment.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of wisdom in
that. Because that means a lot, especially for a country that somehow is very impoverished.
Yeah.
And also what you are thinking about tomorrow, it makes you to become a person that you are either hunting for something, you are looking for something, something you want you to become exist. In order to exist, you have to think for something.
Well, one thing you have to do is have subsistence in order to be able to survive.
Exactly.
And that would be food.
Yeah, food.
Like
that's bottom line.
Basic,
that's best bottom line. Subsistence. That's why we were talking about my parents being subsistence. That really if you ask a lot of people in my background where I'm from, they'll tell you when you're talking about tomorrow, they'll tell you let us do here what we are here. Tomorrow if comes, then bless the Lord, because that's what it will come, and we can't predict, and we cannot depend on that. So the same thing what you're saying now, like your question you came up with.
Well, I only got it on the subway, the bus coming over here this morning, so don't take it with too much.
No. I'm just saying. I'm just But that just then,
occurred.
Exactly. Then that we can't, as a person who believes a traditional culture that it's so evolved of the moment. I don't want to think about that. I don't think that. It might happen. If it does, then I don't know who will be able to come to document, even to share that.
Well, right. You mean the idea that we may just go into the midst of history in a new species?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but you may be going through that thing wide awake.
That's right.
That happened without any thought in the past.
That's right.
I don't think they were thinking about, well, we're Australopithecine, we're going to become a habilis. It happened. But now we're going through that thing, and we're at a time of qualitative transformation, perhaps.
That's right.
Like in the birth canal, we're coming to a new thing, and we got a chance to liberate. And so we got this thing, and you're from that continent. We've been talking a lot recently on the program. It'd be worthwhile if we could. We want to get to the banjo and the banjo playing and all that, and your career here in New York. I mean, in the United States, you're teaching at university the banjo and that kind of stuff. But first of all, we were getting at the thing that currently in the affairs of the African continent, looming large in people's consciousness now is what's going on in the country of Libya. And the bombing of that country. And Mr. Gaddafi, who's headed that country, has been very interested, particularly in this last decade or so, in development or providing a lot of his sovereign wealth funds to set up, let's say, a development bank and things that could possibly have positive effect upon the people of Africa, which are not usually considered to be on the first order of concern for the major bankers and so forth that run the world, Africa. And that's a number of the people that are what is called some of the least advantaged, the most poverty-struck people are there. So he's had a concern for that, and now we're bombing him. And we're saying that he's, he's a. I wondered, what do you think, just to judge him? You have some contact with people back home and in Africa in general. What are the people of Africa, the people, as much as you're able to be representative or feeling the pulse of the masses of the people of Africa, think about what's going on vis-a-vis the NATO attacking of Libya. And he was also in league with, in the tradition of Kwame Nkrumah and Sékou Touré, and thinking about maybe moving towards some sort of United States of Africa after the African Union. He was trying to move toward getting some power and some real support for the people of Africa. But what do you think the attitude of the people of Africa, as best you can read it, is toward the current geopolitical context of North Africa and Africa as a unit, but particularly what's going on in North Africa, and particularly the country of Libya, which is unique?
First of all, I'll thank you very much for that very important question for the African continent. And I'll also like to share, beside of Libya, there are countries also I do know, and some propagandas and programs that has been in place to really impoverish Africa, whether they want to become a strong state as Africa. I'll start with one of the program was happening in 2000. Before I came here in 2003, I was a lobbyist for the HIV/AIDS.
Oh yeah, horrible.
For Africa. There was a good.
That's the Orphans Fund, I think.
Yeah, that's how I started the African Orphans Fund. South Africa was one of the most country developed in terms of technology that can help Africa as well as many countries that in that state of mind.
South Africa in the south, Libya in the north.
That's
There's
exactly.
a connection. Mandela and Libya and Gaddafi
exactly.
were in touch with one another.
Exactly. For instance, there was a committee, I remember, this was somehow under classified or whatever, went to South Africa. South Africa was going to develop pharmaceutical genetic medication for HIV/AIDS patients in Africa. Now, the committee from the pharmaceutical companies here in the United States went to South Africa to lobby and stop not to develop that genetic medication for African countries because in order to be affordable.
Economic interest.
Yeah, economic interest, and because it will be affordable for Africa, and also it's a generic medication with base for the African people.
Yeah, and that would undercut the profit margin for the people who have the patent
because,
on the other.
Because some of this medication
that's a big
here,
problem in medical terms in general.
That's right, because most of this medication here that are sold in Africa for patients of HIV/AIDS does not work very well because of the segments, what they call, they have what these terms they use, doctors they use, what do you call? Does not work because of how the infection of the African HIV, there is HIV-1 and HIV-2, AIDS-1, such kind of thing. So that was stopped, which means that it was beneficial for African countries, but was lobbied by the committee of the pharmaceutical company to stop that development to happen.
That's a larger issue in terms of differentiation between the capability that we have. It may be there was a time when we didn't have anything at all.
That's right.
Or we didn't have anything at all before Pasteur.
That's
or before penicillin.
That's right.
And you invent something,
That's
or you
right.
come up with something, people want to be able to make a good profit from that.
That's right.
And they want to save the people who have enough money to buy the thing.
That's
but
right.
they got to let the people who are going to die because they can't get, and you can get a generic that would just greatly reduce the price and the availability to the people. So the differentiation between our capability and the knowledge base and the scientific base and the marketing capability of having a thing done in a way that can fight off the people who are going to make a big profit at the, you understand? That's a big issue
it is.
In terms of the whole human condition, even technology writ large and that kind of thing.
That's very true.
We have a capability that our system won't allow us to really realize to the benefit of the masses of the people, because there are people with special interests, political and economic,
very true.
To gild the lily, as they say, of the already super rich and comfortable.
Yes,
right.
That's very
the problem.
True. It is. It is very and that's for as that said. What the question about Libya? There are a lot of African supports Libya, Libyan people, Gaddafi to be their leaders, because the West cannot dictate of what Africa has to decide for their own leadership, especially when it comes to in terms of who should become a leader. If the opposition of Gaddafi, they could not take him out by using democracy to sell to the people of Libya and the people of Libia to buy, and they didn't buy it. It means that Gaddafi was doing better than what they thought.
Well, he had. We go through. We're going to be doing teachings about that because I've been there 8 or 9 times. I like I like what he's done. And they were the poorest people in the world, literally, when he took over in a mere 30 years. Now, at the top of the mark, all the human index on literacy, clean water, everything. Everybody owns their home, automobile. The thing, he spread it around, the wealth, very much, to the people. And you can't have that in the minds of many people because you have to get more money to the people who are already rich.
That's very true.
I mean, and he also had a thing where if you started a business, they had to be owners of the capital assets of the business rather than just workers in a business. And that's also very revolutionary. It is in terms of the way the West understands things through the American prism.
That's very, very true. And it's the same. So as you said that question, or you asked me, it's very important that the Africans are still with supporting the people of Gaddafi to be on Gaddafi's side. But right now they are divided because of the media. You see, the problem is that the
media is all owned by the rich guys.
That's exactly. And the problem is that Africa, they can lean on any side when they know they might be next of any propaganda that will be going against of any leader.
Yeah.
So always the people of Africa, because most of them lack of understanding and knowledge of going deeply.
Most of the world in a nuanced
exactly.
way. Yeah, right, yeah.
So they get
They're susceptible to be manipulated or coerced or co-opted.
Yes. Yeah, so they become more brainwashed with the media because of how much they fueled money, fueled in the media to just propaganda go against one single person in terms of understanding the background of that country. And most people, they don't, because they follow the media what says. But when you, as you have been there 8 times.
Yeah, more roughly. As the only country I was ever interested in.
Yeah, you've been there 8 times. But you can tell people even, look, what the media says, this is completely reverse.
Well, it is and it isn't. It's a big issue, and it's also that they may be like, if you see things from a European perspective, you had feudalism for 1,000 years after Rome, and the legitimate order was the royal houses, the dynastic states for 1,000 years. That was called legitimate.
That's right.
That was authority. And then we made a revolution in the United States and made a revolution against the monarchical order, and we were successful in establishing in that. And we set up now in the fullness of time. We emerged. We had a civil war and all this and everything. In the emergence of time, we emerged. And the world's more or less accepted our notion of how the world should be set up according to a representative democracy and the system we have. And the system we have that people buy into may be root and branch. You were talking about how everything's connected and everything like that. The system that's in place and we call legitimate.
That's right.
Including like that war in Iraq and that war in Afghanistan. That's for a legitimate reason, to bring reason to the world and so forth, that it is not adequate to what the future requires. Back again to that thing about Australopithecines.
That's right.
It is not. And what Gaddafi had proposed in rough order and in 30 years achieved in his country and then reached out to the least advantaged people, whereas the established pattern didn't have anything to do with taking care of the least among us.
That's right.
Only the rich, only the wealthy. That's the only thing they cared about, and you got a thing where you've got all the wealth owned by a small plutocratic class everywhere. So that system that's in place is calling itself legitimate, but it may not be historically legitimate. What he was trying to do very well may be legitimate because it's got a pattern that can serve the interests of the poorest.
That's right.
And the American Indian nations, the black people in this country, the Africans and the poor people would be naturally in support of him, so you can't have that if you're representing the old order, which is the United States of America and its running dog allies, in the minds of the way a Marxist would put it.
That's very true.
Does that make any sense?
It does make sense because it's
you can join the teaching.
Yeah, exactly. And the same thing happened in Zimbabwe. You know, Zimbabwe is a horrible country now because the media played a big role to impoverish that country. I know Mugabe is not a best leader of Zimbabwe, but his ideology was the most accepted with most of the African countries.
He was a freedom fighter. He and who's the guy? Kenya. Kenyatta. Kenyatta in Rhodesia.
But it just came in a long timing, and the media took over because of long timing for him being so long in power, and just to propose which was very ideology for his own people.
Well, I know that they used to have opposition. You had Ian Smith or something, and all this kind of white stuff, you know, and the white man's burden and all that kind of stuff you'd be familiar with.
Oh,
I know that on. And 83% of the land was owned by white people who would work it and everything. And then about 20 years after the revolution, 83% of the land is still owned by the white people. And they're saying that you can't do it, and you have to have us there to do it. And so there is that Mugabe situation in Zimbabwe may not be all black and white.
And that's what
right and wrong.
Right and wrong, because people, they don't really understand. If the same, like Tanzania, we had the same exactly experience with Zimbabwe.
You had the leader
Nyerere.
Nyerere,
Julius Kambarage Nyerere.
Right.
Julius Kambarage Nyerere, he told the farmers who were in Tanzania by then in 1950s, before he became a first president of Tanganyika, he said, in order to you to be in my land, in order to be in Tanzania, you have to be Tanganyikan with a Tanganyika African Association Union. You have to join the union of Tanganyika African Association Union. And most of the Westerners who were farmers there, they said, no, Nyerere, you can't. You were our colony. You can't let us be in your member of this association you're forming. He said, oh, so you have only two options. Yeah. Either you leave or you'll be paying 50% taxes of everything you produce here. So most of the farmers there, they left Tanzania. They went to Zambia and they went to Zimbabwe, because Zimbabwe, Smith,
Ian Smith.
Yeah. Ian Smith. Yeah. He had that country in control.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
lockdown.
Yeah, so all those who migrated from Tanzania, farmers who migrated, Western white farmers migrated from Tanzania to Zimbabwe, they were given tremendous amount of land.
They were, okay.
And without no conditions.
Really, okay.
So Nyerere, we became pretty much empty country with all land that was already prepared by these Westerners, farmers and so on. They left because they went to Zambia, they went to Zimbabwe. But people of Tanzania by that time, very few, the minority, they were not happy with Nyerere to do that because they thought he was going to impoverish, and he was letting these people lose their job because they were working these farms and so on. But in the long run, it was good for Tanzania, because now Tanzania had that land introduced that, okay, if you want to become an investor, you want to come to have a land in Tanzania, you have to have a Tanzanian to be a partnership without any collateral or any capital to be put in place. And you cannot own the land. You can lease it for 100 years, but you cannot own it. And a Tanzanian who has to be part of your shareholder has nothing to bring at the table, because he will use his citizenship to become your shareholder.
It's really interesting, and all the nuance. We could talk for hours about the continent of Africa and the things that are there, and I would like to do that. And we'd like to elicit. I'm going to want you to try and get to become a producer over here with a program that can fill us in on some of the realities of Africa.
That's right.
So I'm going to try and recruit you as a producer of programming here at Manhattan Neighborhood Network, if you don't mind.
Oh, I will be happy to share.
You could set up a program to share these things. That would be good. But the thing is, we have to move along because we've only got an hour. I could talk to you for 15 hours with no problem, you know, and we'll do it maybe over coffee or something.
That's right,
but
on
this set,
yes.
We got to move along, and I know you've come here to the United States, and you are from a rich tradition, moving over sort of culturally now,
right, yes.
from the political and that, but you were you're a fourth generation maker of a banjo.
That's right.
And the banjo, I'm told now by you and everything, is an instrument that comes from the continent of Africa.
That's right.
It has a rich tradition.
That's
and
right.
there's also a rich musical tradition of music and stuff. And you've been up, if I'm not mistaken, let's go over it quickly and then let you get a chance to play some for us.
That's right.
But you've been up in Montana somewhere.
That's right.
Teaching some of this at a university up there. Maybe you can go quickly over that role that you have up there academically, and then let's get down to where we can hear some of the banjo and some of the history of the banjo as a musical instrument of great renown and import.
Thank you, Harold. You see, when you come to the banjo,
yes, you get down to your heartstrings, right? Yeah.
You touches a lot of ancestry, history.
Yeah.
You touches a lot of people. You touches the people who came to this country before me.
Yeah. Right.
You know.
Yeah.
And that's what I give them credit, because they did a lot, but they never recognized because
I come from Alabama with the banjo on my knee. I'm not going to sing.
That's right. No.
You heard it forever. But that came from.
That's my cousins, when, you know, banjo, it's very traditional, very customized in our culture, especially for the African people.
Is that mostly East Africa? Or
no,
where?
In fact, you can find a banjo in Zambia, Malawi, Central Africa as well. And
where was it first? Who developed it first? Was it Mr. Banjo? Was that how it got its name?
Okay, Mr. Banjo.
Was there a Mr. Banjo?
No. In fact, banjo before, according to my grandfather, who died when he was 1994 and 1990.
He was 94?
Yes.
God, you got good genes. You got a long life ahead
I'm
of
so
you.
fortunate.
Yeah,
yes.
okay, good.
He told me the story. first of all, the banjo was not a 4-string as it is right now.
Maybe we could get the banjo out now and you can talk over it. We're going to put this mic, so if you wanted to. Now, what are you talking now? Then we can get some shots of this.
Yeah, so the banjo before was in fact, it was 1-string instrument.
Really?
Similar to the bowstring.
Okay.
And according to my grandfather, I give him credit for letting me know that, because it's not part of the history, because it was never written anywhere.
Okay.
So there were 4 people have to play in an African village.
Yeah.
And each person has to have a matching note that they can play all together, 4 of them.
I see, yeah.
Then when one person was deceased or died or relocated or moved, then the 3 people could not play exactly the same tune that they used to play when they were 4.
I see, yeah.
So one of the leaders of African leaders, chief, decided to appoint one man out of the group to make a string, 3-string instrument. 3-string instrument before the 4-string.
Yeah.
To become an instrument that will be subsidize the other people who, if there is no one to be able to play, so that someone can play a 3-string instrument. You can have 2 people only playing, one playing 1-string instrument and one playing 3-string instrument. And then later on they say, wait a minute, why don't we just make a 4-string instrument instead of having these 2 people play, and someone can play, and see if we can make the 3-string instrument to become a bass of the banjo.
A bass of the banjo.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So that was like in 15th centuries before.
15th century, goes way back.
Yeah, way back before even the banjo came here. So then they made the first banjo out of gold, cowhide on top, and then the stringing were made out of the hair tail.
And you make banjos.
Yeah, that's
you
what I
make
do.
it right from the get-go.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
From the raw
That's what I
material.
do.
You're a banjo. You're 4th generation banjo. Did you make this banjo?
Oh yeah, I made this one. In fact, this has a very good story. It's a banjo made out of 2 tribe instruments.
Okay.
One, the bottom of the banjo.
Well, let's see if we can show it here. Let's see. Let's turn it sort of maybe to this camera. Maybe you can come in this camera. What are you looking at here? Can you come in on that? Can you come in, you guys, on that? Let's see if they can. Talk to it. Go ahead.
So this banjo is made out of a drum.
Yeah, here they're coming in on it. Okay, yeah.
Made out of the drum that the drummer was given as a gift with from Native American in Montana.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
They said, Essau, you came to visit us. We want to give you a gift, so give me a drum. And then I told them, I said, you know, I'll play this drum, but somehow one day I'll come back. I'll come to share my music with you.
Good, yeah.
And then when I went back, I made the drum they gave me, I made a banjo out of it.
And that's it?
That's it.
And you were in touch with the Amerindian spirit
and the
tribe.
Yeah,
and you feel a camaraderie with them?
Yeah, very much.
Okay,
very
that's
much.
good. Yeah.
And just, I wish I could learn much and be there and stay with them. But
well, stick with good people.
Yeah, they are good people. Very good people.
Absolutely. Very ecologically
minded.
Very human.
Yeah, very human.
And they've been treated horribly.
Well, you see, that's one. Yeah, that's one of the other things that our history is not very good when it comes in terms of
being exploited.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not very good.
Well, the black people were exploited. The Indians were exploited.
Yes. And I believe that that era of human era, which
ought to come to an end.
Yeah, it has to come to an end.
I
don't blame no one. I usually don't blame.
No, but
I don't pinpoint. But about the banjo.
This is the drum. Yeah. Okay.
So the strings here.
Yeah.
Tenor strings made in America. The frets placed on these coat hangers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Coat hangers?
Yeah, they are coat hangers.
Okay.
And the wood is oak wood. It was picked up on a construction site.
Okay.
Yeah. The saddle, it's a piece of hanger that you use when you're doing tiles.
Okay.
Tiles work. So it was also picked up on a construction site. You see the bolt here?
Yeah.
This is the bolt from the construction site as well.
That's here, right? Yeah. Okay, right, okay.
So
you
all
put
of
it all together. This is handmade.
Handmade is about 50% recycled material.
Okay, good.
Except the skin and the string and the drum. Which
is it okay that the drum you got from them is alright? It doesn't have to be special to be the banjo?
No, not at all. Not at all. I could have made this even out of a coffee can or anything, but this, in fact, it's more special. Some people have asked me to buy this. I say no, I cannot sell you.
Well, of course not.
Because of this connection between me and
your brothers.
Yeah, and my brothers.
From you do sweat lodge and stuff and that?
I went there. I did one sweat lodge. It was just.
There's a lot of wisdom there, isn't there? Yeah.
In fact, I was so surprised to see that culture exist here, because I never thought there was any culture that they do sweat lodge.
It's good to have it linking up, isn't there? Yeah, on a world scale. Yeah.
My grandmother, she was a medicine woman in Tanzania, and she passed away.
Sorry.
But she did very well of this sweating lodges I went to learn, sweat lodge. One time when we had a problem with our headaches and flu, she could take a blanket and put over us and have a bowl with very boiling water and take some leaves and put in a boiling water in the leaves and cover us on top, and we have to bend on that bowl with the water, the steaming coming in our nostrils. Nostrils.
And it cleared it up?
The following evening, I could sleep like a baby.
Let me know. I've been having a coughing spell. Let me know about what those leaves are and how I could do it. Put a blanket over my head. Would you come over and help me do it?
I have to go to Tanzania. I have to call my brother. They have to bring it. But I don't think they will allow me to bring it. By then, my cough will be gone. But anyway, listen, what we got to do, you also can play. There's also a tradition. That's the banjo. Thank you for that. You make these banjos. Yes, I do.
And then you also, there is a tradition of the tunes, of the sound, of the banjo in Africa, which is unique in terms of what we're used to. We're used to minstrel and stuff, but there's a tradition.
Strumming.
And what we want to do is we want to hear the pling played a little bit.
So maybe I'll play the strumming. I'll play the strumming.
Or talk the difference, the traditional
and the difference of the head,
or the traditional banjo music of Tanzania, other than some hip-hop or something.
Okay, some hip-hop. And this is one of the sad things I also want to share, because the banjo is already in extinction.
We were talking about extinction of species.
Yeah, exactly. You see now, we're going to the instrument now.
See, that metaphor is more applicable than you might think.
Very true.
Yeah, right. Okay, go on,
the banjo now, it's no longer used in many bands, many musicians. There are Yuma Sekela and others. They are still most of their region of African musicians. This man from Zimbabwe, he's just a great musician also. He still plays in the old time. But the banjo, as we speak right now, is no longer an identity to African continent.
It isn't? Is it disappearing?
It disappeared.
In the favor of guitar?
Yes. It gets favorable guitar, and now with techno music, electrical music, and all of this, electrical guitars and so on.
Yeah, that's right. They got look, Kurzweil things and everything.
Yeah, exactly. And you go. It's sad to see that, because this is our identity, and it has much to do with what music is today.
Yeah, that's right. We had the banjo down in the bluegrass tradition too, and you know, a 12-string guitar, and but they had banjo. The bluegrass. The language most close to Elizabethan is in the Appalachian United States, where you have that.
The Krohama,
that's ancient.
That's right, exactly. The Appalachian still, there are a lot of folk music. You go to Louisiana, you'll find, in fact,
Louisiana, you got that. There Louisiana you got that. Yeah, Cajun stuff.
Yeah, is the only place that they play my style, which is strumming style.
Okay, yours is strumming style, tradition.
Yeah, traditionally.
And you're trying to keep that alive. Right?
Yeah, and I'll never change.
Okay, now, can you, look, we've only got so much time. That's the problem, there's not enough time.
No
But could you talk a little bit about that then, strumming style, and then play a little bit? Let's hear it.
And then, like a tuning here.
And we're talking with Essau.
I usually use the tuning is D. F,
I wouldn't know what you're talking about.
D, F, A sharp, D, which is open D, or
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, but
musicians they will know that.
Essau Pwelle.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll play some tune a little bit. This song is very original from my cousins, and is about my mother, our mother in general, because in Africa we call our mother. We don't have my mother, our mother. It's I'm going to sing in Wandali tribe.
Okay.
That's my language.
The language, okay.
Okay, testing.
Beautiful, man. Gorgeous. What were the words? What were the words saying?
It's my mother. You are very far away in Tanzania. I remember you. I remember Serengeti. I remember Tanzania. Zanzibar.
Gorgeous, man. You got stuff out on CD? You got stuff down? You got
I do have a CD. I have a CD. I just made 6 songs, and people, if you want, they can go AfricanBanjo.com and they can write.
AfricanBanjo.com.
That's right.
They can go AfricanBanjo.com. It's all there. Okay. Listen, we got about a little more time.
That's right.
That's beautiful. beautiful. Is that your original song, or is that
yes,
one that's
it's
around?
Yes, original song is about, yeah, I wrote this song. Most of my songs my own song,
yeah.
And I'm a poet in African tradition. I write in Swahili, I translate in English, and my songs, it's a soulful music. I like my music, it's soulful music.
It is really beautiful.
Loving and caring, forgiveness, and all of that. Promoting peace, which is one of the.
Do you have any songs in English?
Yeah, I do.
Maybe you could do one in English.
I will.
And you're gonna let them know you're gonna go into Berlin for a concert.
Exactly,
when is that? That's at the end of the month or something.
It's on. No, in fact, it's in July. July 2nd, from July 2nd to July 3rd. This is one of the most assembled traditional cultural music from around the world. Like more than 41 countries are participating.
Is it an annual thing?
It's an annual thing.
Always in Berlin?
Always in Berlin, and it's a lot of people. There are a lot of events going on.
You get to Europe a lot, or not?
Well, so far I haven't been in Europe since in 2004 because I was there for the exchange program for the students who goes to Tanzania.
Right, okay.
I was the host of that program. But what I would like to share is that these events are happening around, and what I do is I try to bring with a banjo, using a banjo, I try to bring the ethnicity awareness in the United States in schools from preschool, 0 age up to 100.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Let's let you get some more. Maybe do one in English and then do another one. And why don't you play us out as this? We got about 7-8 minutes or so.
Yeah. This song is about innocent children.
Oh, wonderful.
Children.
Innocent songs children. Of innocence. Huh? Thank you, Mr. Blake.
Innocent children. It's a song about children dying in a war zone and all of this.
This will be in English?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Every day, innocent, children dying in a war zone. This war, innocent. Every day, in a war zone, no war, no war, no war, in this war, children, innocent, women dying
Oh, so sad, so beautiful, so beautiful.
Thank you.
So sad. The innocent children, how horrible to contemplate. That's really something. That's beautiful. I think we have a little bit more time. Could you play one other piece that we might be able to go out on? We got a few more. We got a minute or two left. Maybe something in your own language or something, sort of to work us out at the end.
That's right. Yeah.
We got about a minute and a half to go, so fit it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is.
That's such a sad, beautiful song.
Yeah, it's a chanting song in a Bantu ethnic language.
Okay.
Yeah.
Play us out, as they say. Thanks, brother.
Thank
Great.
you. Very welcome.
Thank you for viewing. Tuning in tomorrow.
Very welcome.